everybody. Welcome to lesson 7. How's it going? Are you still practicing? I know the lessons are building. They're getting bigger and bigger, but I know you guys can do it, so keep it up. So lesson number 7, we learned some really cool grammatical things, so I'm excited about this one. Let's start off with, so one thing I want to explain to you is in ASL we have something called non-manual markers. Non-manual markers are indicators that, grammatical indicators that are done on the body and not on the hands themselves. So the first one we're going to start off with goes with the sign for big. The sign for big, you make an L hand shape and bend the index finger and pull it outward. Now, along with this sign, we're going to be making a mouth movement that goes like this. C-H-A. You don't have to actually make a sound, but that's what your mouth is doing. So, now the sign, this is a very general sign for big. You would actually sign big proportionate to what you're talking about. So for example, if I was talking about a big hamburger, I would show my hands in the hand shape of a hamburger. If I was talking about a really large dog, if I was talking about a large soda, like a big gulp. So it's actually, but the general sign for big is. Okay, next one is the sign for small. The general sign for small. Now notice what my face is doing when I do this sign. My lips are pursing together as small as they can go. So let's say I'm talking about a small pizza. Now notice I'm making the same hand-shaped gesture as I did for hamburger. This is a really big hamburger, but it's a really small pizza. You can actually do it either way. So that's the reason for the mouth movement, because when you're signing proportionate, when you're describing size and you're signing proportionate to what you're describing, this could be big for something or small for something, so the mouth movement indicates which one it is. So if I was talking about a really small dog, if I was talking about a small soda, if I was talking about a small cookie. Now this is a small cookie, but it's a huge spider. Now the other one I want to show you is the sign for medium. Medium is like this. So you kind of think like the gas gauge right in the middle. Not full, not empty, but right in the middle. And the mouth movement you do with that one is like an M, like a pursing movement with your mouth. So like an average sized dog or a regular soda or a regular sized pizza. Now, the reason we have that is because the general signs is because, so for example, if I'm describing the size of something that is not within my scope of size description, so for example, if I'm talking about a large house, I can't make my body big enough to be the size proportionate to a large house. So the general sign for big will be perfect. Even if I was talking about a small house, I still can't make my body small, my sign small enough to show the size of a small house. So then the general sign for small would be perfect. Okay, next sign is the sign for house. So think of the roof and then the sides, house. Town, or community, you twist it. And usually city, you sign like 2 twists. Some people do this as well, city, town. That's why it's important to show the big, or that would indicate town or city as well. Okay, next is the sign for home. So where you eat and where you sleep. Now, house and home, in English, we have 2 different words for the similar concept. Same thing with ASL. The sign for home and the sign for house are used the same way as the word for home and the word for house that we use in English. Okay, next is the sign for all. I call it the laundry detergent sign, ALL. And then the other sign for all is like this. This is more like whole or all, like a mass of something, where this one is usually something countable. All of us were late, or all of you can go early. Whereas all, like we ate all of the ice cream, or the whole pie. Okay, so when we go all like this, we can use this directionally and we can use it in our space. Next is a sign for hard. So you make 2 fingers on each hand and bend them and smack the top one down on the bottom one. Hard. You can also do this, hard, but this one is usually more for difficult. Like this class is really hard, really difficult, whereas the countertop is really hard. Okay, easy. So you brush across the tips of your fingers. So it's kind of similar to excuse me or forgive, but it's the backs of the fingers. So easy. Almost is 1 movement. Easy is 2. So easy and almost. Next is the sign for always. You stick up 1 finger, face your palm towards you, and make a circular motion. Always, always late, or always early. And then never kind of looks like you're drawing like a 7 with a flat hand shape. Never, or some people do more of a lightning bolt. Never. So never or always. Next is a sign for make. Think of like having like clay or Play-Doh in your hands and like squeezing it and forming it to make a shape. So make. Now make has a lot of different concepts that it can be used for, like you make me mad. You don't make someone mad. You would use the sign for cause me to be or influence me to be. Or to make up a story, you would use the sign for invent instead of make. And we'll go into those later. But this is actually the sign, the concept of to form something physical, make. Next is the sign for hurt or pain. Now, a new concept I want to introduce to you today is the concept of locational signs, meaning that they can be signed on a certain part of the body to show where, for example, it hurts. So if I did it up here, what would that be? A headache. If I signed it right here, what would that be? A toothache, an earache, a stomach ache. So you can sign it on the part of the body, which is really good for kids too, because then they can express themselves in an even deeper way. Okay, so pain and hurt. Next is a sign for surgery. Now, surgery is also a locational sign. You don't have to show the location of your surgery, but you can if you want to. So let's say I had laser eye surgery, or a C-section, or heart surgery. So you can use it locationally. And it's the A hand shape. But general sign for surgery is across the palm. Surgery. Okay, next we have the sign. Here's another word or concept that has a non-manual marker with it, and this one's kind of fun. So it's the sign for recently, or the word just when you're saying like it just barely happened, or just one, or not just one, but just barely happened when you're talking about time. So that you make an X hand shape and you twist it back and do it on your cheek. But when you do this sign, your chin and your shoulder are going to come together. Recently. And the closer your chin and shoulder come together, and the more your mouth moves towards your shoulder, the more recently it happened. So if somebody said, did you clean your room? I just cleaned my room. Or yes, recently, not too long ago. But so the closer in you go, the more recently it happened. So just or recently. Okay, next one. This one always gives me a laugh when I see people do it the first time. So it's the concept of not yet, or it hasn't happened yet. So the sign actually looks like the sign for late, right? So late, but not yet. You move the hand and you go. Notice what I did with my tongue? I stuck it out and shook my head. It looks silly. I know it feels weird to do it, and I know when you practice it, you feel ridiculous, but it is part of the sign. It really is. And it's when you see people use it, it's like, oh, okay, it just looks natural. I guess for me, and maybe for somebody else that's new in signing, it might still look a little bit strange, but it's completely natural. So if somebody said, did you finish your homework? Not yet. Okay, next one is, oh, I love this sign. It's one of my favorites, and it's a lot of my students' favorite sign too. So your hands are gonna go off to the side of your head. This is a sign for hope. And your hands actually wave at each other, which seems a little bit silly, right? So hope or expect. So hope or expect. So if I was saying, I hope my mom comes over. You can also use the commonly known gesture of I'm crossing my fingers for. Even deaf people will use that for like, yes, I'm hoping, I'm crossing my fingers. But the official sign for hope is like this, or expect. Next is the signs for funny and fun, and I teach them together because they're very similar. So funny, so 2 fingers, brushing down your nose repeatedly. Funny and fun. So fun, you start like this, and you land on your other hand. So it's a 2-handed sign. Funny is a 1-handed sign, and you repeat the motion. Funny. Oh, so a comedian, how would you sign that? Funny. Person, comedian. Okay, here's another sign that's very similar to those, and it's a sign for cute. And it's the 2 fingers, but it's on your chin. Cute. Cute. You can use different motions to emphasize. Next is a sign for maybe. Think of scales, like yes on one hand, no on the other hand. So my kids hate it when I say this. When I sign maybe, they're like, oh, come on. It's like I'm avoiding saying no. So maybe. Maybe. Next is a sign for dirty. We're going to use a flat 5-hand shape, and we're going to go under the chin and wiggle our fingers like this. This is actually very close to the sign for pig. Pig and dirty. It's just a coincidence that they're really close to the same sign. So dirty and then pig is like that. Okay, we're getting close, we're almost done. So the next is a sign for in and out. In, think of like putting something in a pocket or a container, in and out, just pulling something out. Now inside, think of matching the syllables. You repeat the motion, inside, and then outside is like that. Now, before the sign for outside was like this, but that is awkward, so people just sign outside with one hand. So outside and inside. So if I want to say, let's play outside. Next is a sign, oh, play. I forgot that we hadn't already done that sign. So play. Party is sometimes signed like this, or people will spell party. Party, some people will do it with a P. It's not my favorite way to do it, but I do see people do it sometimes. Party, I would suggest play and party. And then the last vocabulary word on this lesson is a really good one, and it's music. Some people sign with the palm up. Some people do it with the palm down. Either way is fine, but this hand waves back and forth right above the arm, like that. Good. Okay, so in our grammar section, some of the things we talked about today, one was locational signs. That would be what? like headache, toothache, tummy ache. So use a sign that can be shown on different parts of the body, so hurt and surgery. Another thing we talked about was non-manual markers, which are things the body does, grammatical things that are not actually on the hands, but they're part of the sign. So examples of that would be cha. Just recently, and not yet. A couple of things I wanted to mention. One, one other thing I want to do a few sentences before we sign off, just for practice. So I'm going to do a couple right now. Let's see. Let me say it for you first. No playing in the house. I just went to the bathroom. So bathroom was our topic, and then I just recently. Now the go or the went sign is not really necessary because you have to, that's implied in the fact that you are going to the bathroom anyways. It's all part of it's the same, it's included in that concept, so it's not necessary to sign the go part. Okay, let's do one more. All right, we're done for today. Good job. Keep practicing. Get used to doing those non-manual markers on your face. I know they feel silly, but they're really important, and they really are part of the signs. Good to see you guys again, and we'll see you. Oh, next lesson is super fun. It's the feeling signs, and that would be lesson number 8. So we'll see you next time for those. Thank you.